Hi there. So last week we had a guy come up to us. He was either Labour or the Greens, I'm not sure which. And he said to us, why won't you let Labour and the Greens have their whistleblower protection authority? Or maybe he said, why won't you let Labour and the Greens have their whistleblower protection commission? I don't know which one, but anyhow. And my answer to that, and I wish I said to him what I'm about to say now in answer. My answer is the government reviewing the government's own errors is a most unpromising forum, okay? And it is. Let me say that again. The government reviewing the government's own errors is a most unpromising forum, okay? So I think we need more information from these people as to whether they're planning to use these things they're trying to create in order to help free David McBride and Richard Boyle, or whether they're just doing it because they can and it's politicking, I don't know. The other thing I wanted to mention is the former Gillard government's failed public interest media advocate bill. It was PIMA, Public Interest Media Advocate, which of course was not successful. But if it was successful back in 2012, 2013, it would have meant that newspapers would have had to have signed up to content regulators, which would have been disgusting. And you know, the current government's combating misinformation and disinformation bill is quite similar in a few ways. One of those ways is that the bill encourages the RMIT ABC fact check and the RMIT Fact Lab, which are both fact-checking organisations, I suppose essentially there to replace sub-editors. It encourages them to work on behalf of the government. So the government basically has put its own fact-checkers in there. And it's all very well for these slightly to the left parties, Labour, Greens, whomever, to actually use, you know, climate change and COVID and all these things as an excuse for doing that. But what about everything else? What about all the other stuff? Every single last thing. Does it mean that that's got to go through the blasted lab or fact-check lab or whatever run by the government? That's a disgrace. Because what you're doing is you're taking away freedom of the press and freedom of speech. And I'm disgusted by that. You know, I really am. I'm so fed up with it. So, you know, the government owns RMIT. So, you know, fact-checking will be about what the government wants you to know. That's what I've put there. And I hate that. I really do. And and that's one of the reasons why I come along to the Assange thing, which is now branching out into free David McBride, free Richard Boyle, and free Dan Duggan. And we're very interested in what's happening with Mary Kostakidis as well, because she's been having problems. So, you know, these people who say that they're on our side and they believe in freedom of the press, and they're basing their whole arguments on the Whistleblowers Protection Authority or whatever it is, and they're basing their argument on the Misinformation and Disinformation Act. They say that what they're doing is about freedom of the press. Is it? 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 Is it really? Is it? Is it? Is it? Is it? I don't think so. You've got to explain how, and you're not doing that. Thank you.
Have the Greens spoken up about Julian Assange since he was released?
I don't know.
Like they should be supporting Vindicate Assange.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard anything in that direction.
No. No, I don't know.
I would think that if you had a fair court hearing, that someone who technically broke a rule to reveal a far worse crime would be completely let off if they had a fair hearing. It's like I ran a red light, but there was no one there, and my mother was in the seat, and I wanted to get to the hospital to save her life. I think in a fair court hearing,
yes,
that would be dropped.
Of course. Oh, there's nothing fair about anything they're doing. You know, I mean, they can't just lock people up like, you know, David McBride, 5 years and 8 months. I know it's under appeal, but my goodness, you know, what a disgrace. What a disgraceful country this is becoming if we let that happen, and if we let, you know, the same thing happen to Richard Boyle, and we allow, you know, Dan Duggan to be extradited to the US. We're behaving as badly as Britain did with Julian Assange. It's all a disgrace. And you know, so the battle continues. The battle isn't over just because Julian Assange is free. And Julian Assange, I'm sure, would probably agree with that. Just an afterthought to all of that. Almost all of this century, since at least 2006, the SBS news on the radio, let's say it's news in French, news in German, whatever, on the French or German SBS show. It is not, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've listened to a good deal of this sort of stuff over the years. It does not have the news about what's happening in France, the news about what's happening in Germany, even though each of those programs is broadcast in either French or German. It doesn't have the news about what's happening in those countries. What you're getting is the Australian federal national news of the Prime Minister, Mr. Albanese or whomever, is saying blah blah blah, and then you hear grab of Albanese talking, and the Prime Minister, the Deputy Opposition Leader or the Opposition Leader, Mr. So-and-so or Ms. So-and-so or whomever, says this, and then you hear that person's voice going as well in English. So the grabs are in English, but the news is in French or German. It is most bizarre. Was it a slow news day in France or Germany, or was it just that, you know, the national broadcasters are so anti any information being heard other than the information that they want us to hear? I don't know, but I'm always on the basis of free press. I'm always disgusted by that you can't have, say, a German or a French show with news from that country. Here in Australia, you've got to have the blasted Prime Minister and Opposition Leader in English. while the rest of the bulletin is in whatever that other language is, French or German. I'm always disgusted by that. That's not freedom of the press, that's just disgusting. And I believe 13 years ago, just before.
Welcome to the 251st Julian Assange Sydney Town Hall gathering. Believing that you do not have the right to know the truth about your slavery is a symptom of your slavery. If you are willing to stand up for yourself and those you love, you have what it takes to be free. But if you believe you have no choice other than to conform with the wishes of the parasite class, you will not be free. There is constant propaganda telling you to comply, and that those who do not comply are unworthy to society. On the other hand, if you realize you have inalienable human rights, you have the potential to stand up for peace, justice, and freedom by speaking the truth. Those who make the corruption of democracy known to the public are people who believe in the truth, human rights, and the authority of ordinary people. In contrast, those who seek to benefit from the corruption of democracy assume they have the inhuman right to lie, cause harm, and treat people like slaves. Inhuman rights include censorship of public discourse, punishment of dissidents who have gained public respect through speaking the truth, and unrestricted surveillance of people to make sure they continue to function as slaves. Of course, we are still accorded some kind of freedom. Within the hierarchical system that has been created to enslave us, we are granted the freedom to play in the game of competing with each other to serve the interests of the parasite class. The golden rule of this game is that the better we serve the interests of the parasite class, the more we will be rewarded. If it becomes noticeable that we are not obeying the golden rule, we can expect some kind of punishment. The cases of Julian Assange, David McBride, and Richard Boyle provide us with examples of punishment being administered to those who have served the interests of the public in preference to the interests of the parasite class.
Yeah, mate.
It is clear that we need absolute unity to successfully stand up and defeat the parasite class. Absolute unity must involve the truth. Absolute unity requires us to be absolutely sincere and honest with each other. To achieve the absolute unity we need, we must recognise that we all want the same basic things: peace, justice, and freedom. We must disengage from the absolute control of the parasite class and learn the truth of how the world really works. If we all take responsibility for our own beliefs, we won't fall victim to believing the lies of politicians and government. This personal authority will allow us to stand united and resist coercive control. We must stop humanising our system of governance and realise it is a machine without a heart or ethical constraint. The unfortunate compromised individuals who form the machine are doomed to eternal slavery. Hold on to your humanity and resist the machine. We need to better believe in our rights as free people so that we can have greater courage and stand together in unity. Get with the positive resistance. Get with the Assange movement. Free, free, free the truth. Free, free, free the truth. Free, free, free the truth. Thank you. Those four, the Richard Boyle, the Dan Duggan, the Mary Costa-Ketis and the David McBride.
The future of the Assange movement, even though we hear nothing about Assange, would be what we saw with the ladies that were involved in the protest of the convention in Melbourne, the arms convention in Melbourne, where they didn't necessarily side with any of the police or of the protesters as such, but they were going to each of the media that were there, whether it be Channel 9, ABC, and just telling them, tell the truth. Going and saying to people, just tell us the truth. As long as you're telling the truth.
So you can see right now that we've got a lot of action happening here. Just over here, I'm keeping safe at the moment by staying slightly behind this group. But you can see that police are moving through here. Police are moving through here. Right, okay, so here we go. We've obviously got somebody who wants to constantly come over and try to get our audio. And at the moment, we've got to move out because
hundreds of thousands of
these are clearly a lot of people are trying to get involved us. And you can see that there's this lady with a clown mask on. Now, what they actually did earlier on was that they actually had used the e-scooters to try to block off this really busy intersection. But as you can see, right at the moment, the police are slowly edging these protesters backwards.
That's fine. And they, the ABC reporter was shocked to say, threw back and saying, I'm telling it how it is. And that's fine, she probably is, but is what she's telling it how it is that going to air? Because she's not in control of that, what goes to air. Fine, she could have a cameraman, she could have a microphone, and to the cameraman and on the microphone saying, this is what's going on, yada, yada, yada. But is that going to where, or is that then being sliced up and then packaged to us at a specific way? And hence why those ladies who were, you know, she was a bit, Assange is free, but the point of Assange is, what their view was, is that just tell the truth. As long as you're telling whoever side you're on, whether you're for the police or the protesters or taking any side whatsoever, just tell the people the truth. So I'm assuming that is the future, the direction of the future of the Assange movement. Without hearing from Assange, without him saying this is the system that we should be pushing, this is the political party that you should be supporting, on the sidelines as outsiders, and just saying, tell the truth. Just tell the truth. You can put a narrative in, a Marxist narrative, criticising, putting descriptive words as a parasite class and what have you, but fundamentally it is holding people to account who are projecting news or giving outwardly telling people this is how it is, holding them to account, making sure that they are saying the truth. They are accurately portraying what they're saying, fundamentally. I agree with that.
Like a fact checker.
Yeah. Fact checkers on the ground with Assange, still saying free Assange. Yes, he's free. He's done a deal. Great. He's experiencing life like he really should have been all those years ago. All these trumped up charges, but having those types of individuals on the ground to say, just tell the truth. I'm not for this side. I'm not for the side. But you're the one who's then projecting what's happening here. Just tell us the truth. That's it. Simple as that. So I think that is the future as individuals, and obviously that each of these TV crews had their own little bodyguards with them as well, but they were able to go with the body in sort of sway in with the bodyguard and the TV reporter and with the protesters and the police in the background, and still make their way in and still make their point of pushing the truth. Simple as that. You can't ask for more than that. And as simple as that is. No narrative, no story, just saying, just tell the truth. As long as you're telling the truth, yes, you were reporting, you're beaming whatever's happening here out to lounge rooms across Australia. As long as what you're beaming out of here is the truth, carry on. Every protest needs that. Can we really trust in the IC, whatever body that they make up, ICAC or whatever? They put the independent tag on. Can we really trust it if individuals that have heard of Assange and what we had in WikiLeaks, the revelations of WikiLeaks, the perpetuation of that in individual events, is it truth or not? What's going on? What are you reporting here? We're on the ground here just generally saying there isn't an event here, protest here per se, but we're here just saying, reminding people what Assange gave up, the amount of years that he gave up of his own life, and then you've had the revelations, the cables and what have you from WikiLeaks, just keeping on reminding people, even though majority of them won't act. If there's an event, they're not going to go up to media and specifically say, tell the truth. As long as they've got it in their minds, as what we're seeing here, and is there any remnants of truth of what we're hearing and seeing when we get back home, or as we are seeing it play out in front of our eyes?
Where do they, there's people on the ground at something like that can see what the truth is.
Yes.
But most people have no idea what the truth is, and so we need to have an independent, like WikiLeaks was at least, independently showing what the truth is according to their documents or whatever they had, that was incorruptible evidence. It was evidence that nobody could lie about. Whereas if there were, one of the favorite things is how many people were at the protest. Well, they'll report low if they want to or high if they want to. And it's very hard for us to tell, even if we were on the ground. We can only see so far. We can't count every head. Like I could take a movie of the march down the street and make an estimation based on that. But it's very difficult. We need something like what WikiLeaks did to give us, right, well, we've got independent evidence that has a very strong ring of truth to it, because nobody is saying that's a lie, we didn't say that. So the documents are genuine and they can't argue with them.
Witnesses on the ground like those ladies, and then a span of the general area of when an event happens, to say these are the witnesses, their reliability and what they're saying, which isn't taking any sides. They're straight down in the middle, and then a general gist of what's going on.
Well, that's what social media could be, is that everybody that attends can tell their story, got video of it, because they've got the ability to upload it, but we're being told, no, that's disinformation, cut that out, all you can do is listen to the ABC. But what harm does it do? Well, it does harm to the parasite class, doesn't it? But it doesn't do harm that they're saying it would do. It's disinformation. It's very bad. People get in their heads the wrong thing. They'll be taking cyanide pills thinking it's safe.
Information that they can't manipulate or twist back onto us. It's disinformation replayed back to us. So as long as we're swallowing it, digesting it, and accepting it, it's disinformation. Hence, it can't be trusted. Or here are individuals who have no skin in the game, whether they're protesters or police or what have you, and they're just saying, "This is the gist of what's going on. Here I am, this is my name, this is what's going on, believe me or not. I've just come here to explain to the best of my ability what is the truth of what's going on right here." You don't get that, you just see what the narrative of what Channel 9, ABC, whatever their narrative is.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't play with that narrative, then hence this whole disinformation point that they bring up. Can't be trusted, disinformation, let's move on.
And they're also able to say it, they have an emotional pitch when they report. It's like, oh dear, look, there were some terrible protesters down in Melbourne saying terrible things about what our army is doing and whatever. I don't know what they're saying. But they cue the listener into seeing this as a bad thing.
They came to protest war, but ended up starting one of their own.
And then Albanese tried to calm them down, or someone tried to calm. That would be a good thing.
Or as they tried to do with us, it's a registered protest and they've gone beyond the bounds of what they've agreed with in their registration, or it's an unregistered one, as we are, and hence it's not allowed. They're breaking the law. They're not allowing people to freely move in and around the Melbourne CBD. Hence, they should be castigated. They should be talked down to. They're breaking the law. They shouldn't be doing it. Bad people. We have to move them on.
Police firing foam rounds and capsicum spray.
Our police officers should be respected at all times.
Almost 40 protesters arrested.
Coming up next.
Is there a weather report, Joseph?
No.
We're in spring. How is spring treating us? A farmer's report on this is that the farmers have moved from winter straight into summer conditions. So they've gone, we're not in spring conditions, we're straight into summer. So our growing season now, we're not considering spring, we're straight into summer. Do you agree, as a non-farmer, but just an urbanite? What are you considering?
Well, given that we're in the planet Neptune, we are undergoing several cyclones, and many people are getting frostbitten. And they've cancelled the swimming carnival on the planet Neptune because everybody's getting frostbite at the moment. They don't know what to do.
We are all Assange.